Well, welcome fans and foes, viewers and haters. I'm your cinema simpleton because these days even Hollywood can't fool an idiot. Alright, this review comes as a request from the account of SouperboyX, who does a number of great fan campaigns when it comes to some of the heroes of comic books. He's done Justice League work, and he just recently did a campaign for World's Finest, which is the DC name for Batman and Superman when they come together in stories. And I didn't know that there was actually a fan film coming out of this, which I've seen a couple of, and people have asked me to review some of those things in the past, and I honestly have liked them. They are really cool when they come out. So to get the chance to be able to watch something like this is definitely a surprise, first of all, because you don't often get stuff like this. I often just figure that the teaser or the theatrical band trailers that they give are good enough for me, just to kind of give me my own interpretation of what's going to happen if it was something real. But getting something actually close to what you want to see in real life is definitely very awesome in itself. So he asked me to kind of give my thoughts and opinions on what I thought of it. What I want to get on first is the story. Okay, so aside from Batman and Superman coming together, the real reason that they, I guess, come and join each other's worlds or fight the crime together is because the Joker is running loose. Now, I kind of have to go a bit, I don't want to go too far with this, but it is a bit of what I like to call Spider-Man 3 syndrome. It doesn't happen often in movies, but with these it can happen, because really, with this, you can't criticize so much on plot, or character arcs, or performances, or really dialogue or anything like that. You have to go on the editing, which is crucial in something like this. The visual effects that come with the editing, and music application and stuff like that. The thing about this movie is that there really is no connection with any of these villains. Joker's not the only villain. There's also Metallo, and Zod appears a little bit after the halfway point, and mostly in the third act. But that's the thing, and they don't always have to connect together, but they have to. I think that they need to have some interaction, because otherwise you really get sort of what you got in Spider-Man 3, which is these three different kind of plots, like Peter's going after the Sandman, Peter's going after Venom, or Peter's going after Eddie Brock, Peter's going after Harry Osborn. So that's sort of where the plot can kind of shift, and it gets a very inconsistent feel to it. It doesn't mean that the villains have to be working together, because that can be a bit of a cliche in itself. But I think that you need to have some consistency about why they are after them. And at least have them interact. They can be fighting each other, and that can be really cool. So there is some stuff there that is really interesting. The one thing that I definitely want to applaud here is the use of editing. The editing is very close cut. It's like some of the best editing that I've seen in something, in a media form of this, in a while. I'm not downsizing the ones that I've seen before, but it is very interesting, because they use the guy uses some very interesting methods of being able to connect these two worlds. Sound a bit like Tommy Wiseau there. Some great sound editing when it comes to music. Great music choices, and some of the scenes that they connect these two, like Gotham or Smallville and Batman Begins together. The train sequence, where I'm trying not to spoil much, where a train goes haywire and Batman and Superman meet for the first time, was fantastic. I really loved it, and when I realized what was happening, where we sort of you could call it a bit of an invisible transition, because it's not in this thing. It's not supposed to be just cutting into a Smallville episode. but seeing Clark catch the train was just so freaking cool. And when I saw that was what was going to happen, I was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. I wish I had thought of that. And yeah, I think that there's a lot of convenient scenes to connect these two worlds together. The thing that's a bit tricky with this is that there's a bit here that's not explained a lot, and there are ways there are a lot of reasons why that can be difficult in explaining with something like this, because you really don't have control over what you're going to edit. Like for instance, it's implied that Batman or Bruce Wayne and Lois have a past history together, I guess, like as old flames. But it kind of comes out of nowhere in the beginning, and that can be a bit confusing. I'd say the thing that, like, most of it you just sort of roll with. Like, you have to really just sit back, understand what the creator is trying to do, and just go with it. The one thing that got a little bit hectic was the ending, and I'm trying not to spoil anything. The whole Zod plot basically came out of nowhere. Like, there's a reason it comes to the story, but it really kind of feels like it's just pushing for a bigger climax. And like with the ending, like the third act, I'm trying again not to spoil anything, but there's villains doing different things on basically, like, you've got Superman fighting one guy, you've got Batman fighting another. Eventually they come together, but really it's like, it kind of does feel like two different movies or two different stories, and they're happening, simultaneously. And that can be a bit confusing in something like this. Like, I think what needs to happen in future movies like this is, if you have a screenplay of what you want to do with something like this, that's great. In fact, I encourage it, because I think what you need to be doing is putting in the little description box on Vimeo or YouTube, wherever you're uploading it, really just document what is happening in this part of the movie, because that, I think, would really help the viewers who don't understand something. If they read it, see what you're trying to get across through these editing sequences, it would really help. I think that in future, that would be very beneficial on the part of the filmmakers who want to be able to get a certain kind of story across. And yeah, I think that it would really help somebody, definitely from my perspective, trying to review and enjoy something like this. And I did enjoy it. I really did enjoy it. My next point I guess I want to go on is, where was I? Oh yeah, okay. There's something that's very bold in here when it comes to the decision of where to take Clark's character, and it's very convenient for the editing. And I thought it was a bold move. It's something that we've never seen done before. Well, it's taken from a Smallville episode. I don't want to spoil what happens, but it's taken from a Smallville episode. It's a bold decision in what Clark wants to do with his life, and I think it really does help with the convenience of the plot. It draws all these characters together, and there's a lot here that feels like it's just taking Clark to the next level and making him a character that we can understand. The thing that kind of bugged me a little bit with this is that, and I'm trying not to be a comic book geek here, is that, but this is going on in a bunch of Superman, Batman mediums when they come together, is that Batman and Superman, the reason that they work so well, or not so well, whatever way you want to take it, is that, okay, the reason they work so well is because they don't work so well. It's kind of like, the duo that just doesn't get along, but they do in some way. Batman's obviously got a darker perspective, and Clark has a very, hopeful, optimistic perspective. And here, you don't get a lot of sense of that. I guess what you kind of get a real sense of is that Batman is more of a soldier, and Superman here is a bit more of a public figure. But that's really as far as the dynamic of their different perspectives and views on justice that you kind of get here. There is not a lot of contrast. I think that it's enough for here, but you kind of, I think that the comic book fans who would be interested in something like this, we're probably expecting more. Like I said, there's not a lot you can do, but in Smallville, Clark has like commented on Green Arrow or Oliver Queen's views on justice, so you kind of could have added that into the story. Other than that, I thought that it was really good. It was a bold, I think it was an interesting movie, and it was well edited together. I'm gonna give it a rating of, I think, 3 out of 5. And definitely check out some of this guy's stuff. I'm going to have a link for the movie in the description box.